Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? This is TweaK here, back again with another episode of Budget to Best. So today we're going to be having a look at the SA-58. Now, this video is going to be a little bit shorter and a little bit different, and I will explain that as we get into the video. We're looking at two variations of the SA-58. I'm going to go show you guys the first variation of it right now. Now, this is a standard SA-58 with a couple of mods on it. And the reason why we're showing you this is because it is very cheap to mod, first of all. Second of all, a lot of people can pick up a few of these on a scav run, especially early game. You can find SA-58s on scavs. You know, you can scav in with them if you get out. You'll be able to mod that a little bit and actually have a decently performing SA-58. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go straight to Peacekeeper, and I'm going to buy one of these. Just so I can show you guys how much it costs to mod. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit preset. We're going to open Worth SA1. Here it is. And yeah, this is all you're looking at. You're looking at a Baskak stock. And then you're literally just looking at like an M-lock handguard with an RVG and one of the Austrian style muzzle brakes with the T1 sight there. Of course, you can put whatever optic you want on there. But as far as modding goes on this gun, it is dirt cheap. You're looking at 26k, and then let me just do any here as well. So altogether, yeah, you're looking at about altogether 40k to mod this gun and make it a lot more effective than the standard Bell SA. Is that what they call it? The Bell SA-58? So yeah, this gun performs really, really nicely. Shout out to Ventures for giving me a hand putting this together. I'd never seen this before and he showed it to me. Very cool. So yeah, you can put whatever optic you want. Maybe you don't want to use the aim point. That's totally up to you. But as far as the stats go, you are looking at 119 and 204 on the recoil with 42 ergonomics. So it's not great, but it is also a lot more effective than the standard Bell SA-58. So if you want to invest, you know, a very small amount of rubles into making this gun a lot better than its stock version, it is very easily done, and these guns are fairly easy to come by on scav runs as well. So we're going to run into a factory, and I'm going to give you guys a look at how it performs. I'm going to bind my meds because last time I almost died. I'll see you guys in raid. And here we are deploying into factory. So a couple of things about the SA-58. This gun is an absolute juice lord melter. That is what this gun was designed to do, and it does its job very well. As far as ammo goes for this gun, you want to be running yourself M80s. Like, you can run M62s if you would like. It's up to you at the end of the day. But for me personally, I always run M80s. People ask me all the time, oh, do you always use M61s? No, I never use M61s. For one, they're super expensive, and I feel like there's a problem with M61 rounds right now, where they just, I don't know, I just feel like they don't really perform the way I want them to for how much they cost. So this gun specifically, in my opinion, is a really good labs gun. It's also a really, really good factory gun, of course. If you run directly to the resort on shoreline, it can be really good for that too. But if you get caught out in a long-range fight and you don't have a long-range optic, the odds are you likely lose the fight. It really depends on your own personal preference on like your playstyles and stuff like that. Yeah, I would just really recommend a gun like this for a really, really cheap, really, really effective endgame juice boy killer on maps like Factory and Labs. You really want to specifically be close range with this because, as you know, the SA-58 has pretty monstrous recoil. Even with the absolute best in slot SA-58, it still has a pretty decent amount of kick to it, depending on what your recoil control skill is. So yeah, here it is. This is a great gun for the price. It is super, super effective CQB. And then for long range, you really want to put the gun on single fire. And you really just want to tap it at long range. I would not recommend going full auto and just, you know, trying to shoot like that with it. The odds are you're going to miss a lot of your shots. The recoil is going to bounce you all over the place. And I would just not recommend trying to spray at any distance other than, like, you know, relative CQB. But yeah, as you can see, you have to pull down quite a lot. There's a lot of side-to-side movement at ranges like this. You want to tap fire this thing. You don't want to go full auto unless you're in a position where you can get prone. And then it has basically no recoil, just like almost every other gun in the game, where if you get prone, it instantly negates basically all the recoil effects. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, this little SA-58 is an absolute monster. I wouldn't recommend taking it to bigger, more open maps. You definitely want to keep it confined to CQB maps, especially with the optic that we have on here right now, the 1X. But again, for a gun that you get for free from a scav run or pick up off scavs, and you throw like 30, 40k into it, you're looking at a super, super, super effective CQB weapon. The one thing is the gun is a little bit long, so just be a little bit wary of that. But other than that, it doesn't really have any negative drawbacks as far as CQB maps are concerned. Just don't bring it to super long range maps and you should be good to go. All right, let's get on to the next one. All right, and here we have the best in slot SA-58. Now, a couple of things I want to say about this. The other SA-58s, other than the first one that I showed you, are just not worth it. They are not worth building. They're not worth putting money into. You might have seen when I was opening up the mod list or the gun list in the modding screen, you saw like SA-1, SA-2, SA-3, okay? SA-2 was trash. SA-1 was trash. They're expensive. They are not worth building at all. You are either going to run this SA-58 or you're going to run this one. This gun is actually, like, a lot of people think this gun is super expensive to run. It's not. This gun is unbelievably cheap, okay? You're looking at 46 ergo with 70 and 120 respective recoil values. And yeah, I'm just going to show you guys how much it costs. What is it? This. Let's see. SA-58. What did I call this? Oh, BIS FAL. Here we go. So here it is. This is the best in slot FAL that you can make. It has the A3 adapter with the blast mitigation device. You've got a Lantac Dragon compensator on there with the RK2 grip. You also have the CAS V FAL 4 grip with the SA-58 SPR stock. And then I have the Extreme Duty dust cover with the Valde on top of it. You can run a Bravo on this if you want. It is totally up to you. Totally up to you. Total personal preference. So if you want to build this gun, drum roll please, you're looking at 142k. This gun is so cheap to mod for something that is so effective and such an end game powerhouse of a rifle that honestly the other guns that we built all came in around the same price, if not more expensive. Some of the other ones we tried out were a little bit cheaper, but like cost to effectiveness is just non-existent. It is not worth it. If you're going to run a FAL, run the first one I showed you or run this one. There is no reason to mess around with other FAL variants, little weird CQB FALs that cost nothing, or sorry, cost a lot of money. If you get a standard stock FAL and you just want to put a PK06 on it and use it as a burner in factory, go do that. Go do that. Be my guest. But don't like mod a gun like a FAL and try and like make some weird combination of mods that will end up costing the same or more than this one. It is just not worth your time. And this gun for like 142k, if you get the gun beforehand, is so unbelievably worth. This is one of the best price to performance guns you can get in Tarkov. Considering that it runs 308 rounds and you put M80s into this thing, you will melt everybody you run into. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the same again. I'll show you guys how it performs in raid. I'll see you guys in there. So here we are in factory with the best in slot FAL. So I'm going to get into some scav action here and I'll show you guys how the gun performs. So yeah, as I was saying, this gun, you can pretty much take it anywhere. It's like a Leatherman. It'll always have a use on every single map. You can run it on factory. You can run it on woods. You can run it on reserve. You can run it on customs, interchange, any map at all. It will absolutely murder anything that you run into. Absolutely. No problems. So, as you can see, already it kicks a lot less than the original one that I showed you. It has very, very little recoil. And it just absolutely dumpster scavs. This will dumpster scavs. It'll dumpster scav bosses. It'll dumpster raiders. It will dumpster any players you run into. These M80 rounds absolutely kick like a truck. M62 rounds as well are also really good if you want to see where your shots are going. If you're taking really long range shots, you can use the tracers. M61s, look, if you've got infinite money and you want to go run around with M61s, do your thing. But for me, I think M80s are the best rounds you can put into this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to aim at this door here. I'm just going to hold down. The spread is a lot tighter than the original SA that I showed you. And again, if you're taking really long range shots, put it on single tap. And it doesn't really take that long for your aim to reset. Now, one of the drawbacks of this gun is that you can suppress it, of course. You can always put a suppressor on this. But this gun is so, it's unbelievably long. This gun is absolutely huge lengthwise. Adding a suppressor onto this gun, if you get into CQB with somebody, you know, you can get caught on corners. And, you know, if you get right up in somebody's face, that can cause you a lot of problems. You can suppress it, but just bear that in mind. I'd always recommend running the compensator because the blast mitigator with the Lantac and all that other stuff, it adds so much recoil reduction. It's really what makes this gun so effective. Yeah, I would probably just recommend just going loud, going proud. And when people start coming for you, you just keep holding the trigger down. That's just all you can do really with this thing. But yeah, I would recommend running a Bravo on this because CQB, this thing does shred. You can always just, you know, you can always just point fire with it too. Point firing the things like a laser beam. Even without a huge recoil control skill, I ran this gun quite a lot in the early game. And it really doesn't kick all that much, and it will effectively drop absolutely everything you run into. So, as far as this series goes, I know it's supposed to be 3 guns per video, but with the SA-58, I get asked this all the time about it. People want to know, like, cheap modding methods for it. They're not worth it. You're going to screw yourself. Don't waste your money. Run either the first build that I showed you, or run this one. Because the gun, for its absolute best-in-slot attachments, to get the best-in-slot attributes for the gun, it only runs you like, what, 130, 140k, depending on what optic you want to use on it. So if you're going to use the FAL, use the first one I showed you, or use the second one. Use the best in slot one. Everything else is just a waste of time. It's very expensive, and you will find that the performance of them is just really not that good. In my opinion, if you have some weird variation of the FAL that you like to use yourself, and you think that that's great, that's awesome. Keep running it. If you're finding some variation of any gun that I've ever shown you to be effective, don't let what I'm telling you dissuade you from using those guns. If they work for you, go for it. If you're slaying with them, keep going. Keep fragging out. But this is just from my own personal experience and my own personal experimentation. So, guys, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, please make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. Make sure to hit the old subscribe button if you want to see more content like this in the future. If you're going to leave me a comment, let me know what gun you want to see next. Or let me know what other types of videos you would like to see here on the channel. And if you want to see any of this kind of stuff done live, make sure to go to twitch.tv/TweaK. I'm live pretty much every day of the week from 6 p.m. UK time until whatever time in the morning that I'm live until. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out, my dudes.